Okay, this video, Anatomy of a Crisis, doesn't deal with like just any old crisis. Specifically, what's on my mind today is the budget crisis, or the impending budget crisis that the super committee, that some argued was the greatest political entity since the Rome or whatever, and its failure to reach some sort of a compromise. Now, the reason why I call it the anatomy of a crisis has to do with the last time that our budget ceiling was reached. It didn't have what you would really consider as an investor to be an adverse effect on the markets. Quite the contrary. U.S. bonds all of a sudden had a better yield, and as investors sought to move their money to a better yield because everything's been so sideways, we actually had purchasing of U.S. treasuries, and U.S. treasuries went up in value, and everything just sort of flowed downhill because there's asset classes, like certain percentages of yield get the money. Like well, I don't know, if your funds are being managed, then, and you're in a money market, for example, you're going to have some of your money set aside for 10% yield, some of them 8, some of them 7, some of them 5, some of them 2%. And what'll happen is whatever's yielding those percentages will be where your money goes. So when all of a sudden a U.S. Treasury moves up from being, say, I don't know, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but say it goes from 5% class to a 7% class, well, all of a sudden all those money investment algorithms say, oh, look, we have a new 7% investment class. We're going to move into that area. So it ends up having the backwards effect of what you would think that a credit downgrade or a real financial problem should have. The result is twofold. One, it gives the Congress no incentive whatsoever to do their job, which is probably their primary job, which is to coin money and set the value thereof. You know, it just takes away that urgency when it's sort of a negative reinforcement. You know, something bad happens, all of a sudden the market gets more volatile, everybody seems to be making money, and everybody's happy. The other problem is it further solidifies the position of intervention, because there is so much money being thrown around by governments. I mean, and it's advertised too, like Japan. I mean, these people are putting in billions of dollars into markets, you know, changing the value of their home currency, and everybody is trying to actively devalue their currency to make trade more desirable. Now, I can explain. I'm going to try to explain that as briefly as possible. The reason why, in theory, you want to devalue your currency is because whenever a product is bought from your nation, that product has to be purchased with your nation's currency. So, if you live in the Eurozone and you have a bunch of euros, you have 20 euros, and the product that you want to purchase is in America, well, that product from America is actually being sold in 20 US dollars. So you're going to have to get 20 US dollars to buy that product. Now, if my 20 euros can buy more product in America because of the exchange rate than it can in the euro, then I'm going to be doing trade with America. That's why it was such a big deal when China's currency was being artificially held down. It created that favorable trade issue. Why, you ask? And what does that have to do with the budget crisis? Bear with me. Instead of having tariffs and trade embargoes and other sort of traditionally trade leveling policies, what we have is actually a trade currency war of sorts, where a currency ends up being devalued in a free trade market. Like, the market is allowed to just do whatever it does. It's all globally linked, and there you have it, man. You have a shored up financial crisis. I don't have very high expectations for the Congress, and because frankly I believe that, for the people that are educated the way that some of these people are educated, they make some very uninformed and what seem to be uneducated decisions. And I'm not pleased with their performance. And the only people whose performance I am pleased with are the Congress people who voted against increasing the debt ceiling. And my thoughts on the matter: anybody keep track of what's going on in your district, figure out what district you're in, keep an eye on what your senators are doing with regards to this debt thing, and if you see them finagling with the laws around this super committee, and you see them trying to find loopholes in the laws that were supposed to be robotic, and bring forth the drastic cuts that need to be made, if you see them trying to work around that or further harming our great nation, remember that the next time you go to the polls, and please go to the polls, and please remember that. Y'all take care.